What's up, folks? Ethan here at Hunt Ford in Franklin, Kentucky, and today we're going to bring you something a little bit different than we normally do. We're going to do another one of our kind of review videos where we talk about a vehicle that we've had a little bit more of an extended period of time with. So we did an F-150 video with the Power Boost where we talked about what it looks like in our opinion after about 13,000 miles. We'll go ahead and link that one down in the description. But today, what we are talking about is the Bronco Sport. This is a 21 Bronco Sport with just over 18,000 miles on it. And the best part is I actually put those 18,000 miles on it. So this was mine and my wife's vehicle. And so I've got a pretty good idea of how this vehicle drives. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna talk about the few things that I really like about the Bronco Sport. And so those are gonna be some of the things that I think that Ford did right. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk in another video about some of the things that I think could be done a little better or differently on the Bronco Sport. So if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do so down below and hit that notification bell so that as we post that video, you'll be the first ones to see it. So what we have here is a 2021 Ford Bronco Sport Big Bend. This is a just above a base model. We don't have the Big Bend package or the mid package as they're calling it now. This was just what was available at the time. We needed a new vehicle and this is what we got. And so we don't have the heated seats, we don't have any of that kind of stuff, but for what this does, it has a lot of those new safety features that I had never had on a new vehicle before. So we've got the blind spot monitoring, we've got the auto headlamps, the high beams, and those are actually LED. I'd never had an LED set of headlights before, and it's amazing the difference of having those much brighter headlamps. Another thing that I really think that the Bronco Sport that kind of went under the radar for everyone is that this vehicle drives really well. It might not be for everyone, but we really liked how, you know, it's very responsive. It doesn't exactly feel like a big vehicle, but it drives a little bit bigger than it is. The 1.5 liter 3-cylinder is still a pretty capable engine. I know that a lot of people think that they're going to need that bigger engine, the 2.0 4-cylinder. For what we used it for, we really didn't need it that much. It was still pretty capable on the interstate. We did multiple trips down to Atlanta, down to the mountains in North Carolina. We had a lot of time and a lot of interstate experience with this vehicle, and it just really performed really well. The ride height of this vehicle kind of sits a little bit higher than an Escape, and I like that about it. You know, but it doesn't feel too high, so it's not gonna feel like you're driving a big vehicle, but it's not low where it feels like you're too close to the road anyhow. So I think it sits really well. I really liked the Apple Carplay, the screen here in the middle. It was pretty good sized. Obviously with the newer vehicles up in the F-150 and the Bronco, the full size, you can get a 12-inch screen. You know, that's very big, and you know, we weren't really looking for anything like that, but this one still has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and it was really nice to be able to use the navigation from our phone to use on this new vehicle. So the other question I get a lot about the Bronco Sport is, how did it perform in bad weather? Well, this past winter has been one of the more weather intensive that Kentucky has had in a very long time. And so we've actually been able to test it out on snow a few times, some really bad rain with a little bit of flooding here and there. And the vehicle does great. The all-wheel drive system really navigates traction very well. We never felt like we lost traction. I never felt like, you know, I couldn't drive in any area that I wasn't prepared for. And so as long as you stay kind of on the path that you know you're capable of, you would never have an issue. And the Badlands would be even better about that with the actual four-wheel drive system. The GOAT modes are really useful. We typically would only use slippery when we needed to, but it's nice to have those available options. And so let's go through some of the numbers. So this has exactly 18,216 miles. Throughout the life of those miles, we put on about 28 miles per gallon. which to me is great for an SUV of this size. You know, I think that a lot of people are looking for something that's a little bit sportier, but they can still get good enough gas mileage to drive as a daily driver. So this, to me, is a perfect vehicle for someone looking in that area. One of the other things that I really like about the Bronco Sport is the stance of the hood. I liked being able to see out across the front of my vehicle to see, you know, where things were. It helps with parking lots, and it just kind of adds to the overall sporty feeling of the vehicle to be able to kind of see the hood as you're driving down the road. As far as passengers and cargo room, we'll talk a little bit more about cargo room in the next video, but I really like the ability to have the 3 passengers in the middle. It's a pretty good size. We were able to fit a dog in here, a couple passengers at a time. We had 2 dogs in the back at one point with 3 passengers in the middle. You know, it was a little cramped and a little tight, but this is a smaller SUV, not a full-size SUV. So that's just something that we had to kind of take note of and keep in mind whenever we filled this thing full of stuff. The cargo space is great. We did have the flat plastic on the back in the cargo areas. It was very easy to clean. You could just take a wash rag and wipe it right down. And, you know, we never had any issues. We are in the process of preparing a little bit about our house, and so I can comfortably say that a 8-foot 2x4 will fit down the middle. It's a little tight, a little cramped. I wouldn't recommend it for everybody, but even then you can open up that back hatch and the glass, and you can fit them out the back on a really nice day. If you needed to, you could push it all the way through and kind of cramp it up here in the storage area where you put your phone down at the bottom. It's like I said, it's not for everybody, but you could do it if you needed to. As far as plywood, you'd probably have to cut those into 4ths, just because the, you know, half sheets won't fit comfortably in the back. And so, you know, if that's something that anybody would be interested in, obviously this is not a work vehicle, you know, but if you had to make a Home Depot run or a Lowe's run, you know, that would be something for you to kind of know in advance on what you can and can't fit in the back of the vehicle. So it's like I said, I've got about 8 or 9 months of driving experience on this vehicle, so I'm pretty comfortable with the Bronco Sport. I know that we encountered a lot of things that I hadn't thought about before. There's a lot of storage areas over here on the side that I didn't even know about until we bought the Bronco Sport. I have sort of hidden storage back here on the door behind the cup holders that I wasn't aware of either, and so there's a lot of nice things to find out about that you wouldn't have really known if you didn't own this vehicle. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. I would love to answer anything that you all have for me. Other than that, folks, stay tuned for the video where I kind of talk about what I think could be improved. We'll dive a little bit more into those things in that video. So if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. Other than that, folks, thanks for watching. We'll catch you later.